I get to introduce our key primary hostess for and organizer and brainchild, brain master of all of these programs. So please welcome our real host, Joanne Nistico.
Okay, well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see wonderful faces. What a great way to have a community and a resource during this time of isolation where there's so many people at home wondering, you know, what they can do and how they can get involved in different items. We're very pleased, as I said, we are at a Lunch and Learn. I have my shake here. I made a shake of soy energizing protein with wild blueberries and frozen banana. And so that's going to be my lunch today, which is really tasty and delicious. We'll be hearing some more from every speaker, but let me share my screen and bring up the PowerPoint presentation for our Lunch and Learn today, which is a health chat on women's health. It's really important for us to take care of our health, isn't it? That's why you're all probably here. And
Joanne, can I make just one quick comment to honor the two men that I know are on this program? And I know Susie Sunkel has talked about her health story, saying that women's health, we think it's only for women, but the joke is that we probably impact everyone in our homes. And so women's health is probably just as relevant for men. So I just thought I would add that to cover the fact that we probably impact everyone in our lives. So thanks, Joanne.
You're welcome. And thanks, Susie, for reminding me that I have to go to full screen. This here is spring self-care. And I think the biggest thing that I think for me and women is self-care and treating ourselves well. Whether it's going out for a walk, listening to some bird songs. By the way, Pam, my resident birds here are the cardinal, the red cardinal. And Pam, who's going to be speaking, says that every time she sees a red cardinal, she believes her mother's visiting her. Well, her mother is constantly visiting me, and when I moved and everything, so it's very special to me because I did love Pam's mom very much. Eating healthy, we're going to be talking about some wonderful things, creating a nourishing and healthful routine, spending time in sunshine, focusing on your own personal growth, going stargazing, spring cleaning your home, read a good book. Any one of those things can be helpful for us. And they're all different stages of a woman's life, and I happen to have gone through all of these. Each stage is very different for nutritional needs from young adults. I have 4 daughters, women on the go. I've been there, had growing children, menopause. I experienced that and fortunately went through that successfully and easily with proper good choices and healthy aging. You know, people can't believe that, you know, I'm still riding my horse and going through dealing with that physical activity, which I really love. So we have to look at each stage of our life. And as we go forward in the Lunch and Learn, I met with a couple of my gals today, and we're going to be covering a little bit more of these segments in detail. We've decided once a month on our Lunch and Learn will be specific on women. We'll be doing healthy children. We want to continue our the men's health chat Lunch and Learn that's going to be next Wednesday, and Dr. Gary Mendelson will be the leader of that group for next week. So with that, let's go forward with young adults, and I'd like to have Susie Sunkel share some information. Susie?
Thank you. Yeah, and as you mentioned, and Carolyn, young adults, they affect everybody around them, the men, the women, so you want to help them to be balanced, and in the meantime, set up a good foundation. And I know with my 4 boys, helping to eat a well-balanced diet, fruits and vegetables. I helped them get really conscious of what was on the labels of like cereal boxes and other things, so they read the labels. Making sure they got their proper calcium and vitamin D, and they played a lot of sports, so we always used the performance. And what's funny is nowadays most coaches stay away from the very popular hydration drinks, and they love hearing about something like performance because it won't bounce the kids won't get a stomach ache. It's very different. But when our kids are balanced, it's better for everyone around them. And I remember many years ago at Joanne's house, she had a whiteboard, and on it she said, "Bridget, take your B's." I mean, we want our children to be balanced for our sanity. And it also sets them up. I mean, my kids, they went through a little rebellion as they got into their 20s from their teens. And now in their later 20s, they're all about organic. They're all about taking Shaklee. "What do you have, Mom? What should I take for this?" So you set them up with some good habits and a good foundation. Really important for them and everybody around them, for their physical health, which spills into their mental health, spiritual health, all areas. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide. Yeah, okay, so women on the go. And that is most people I know. And I found out about Shaklee as, I guess it was my early 30s. And I thought I was doing really well. I was a educated consumer and chose well my supplements in the health food store. But the gym owner introduced me to healthy eating. The difference with Shaklee was like, well, then why do you have PMS 3 weeks out of your month and your husband wants to start a men's support group? So she got me thinking. And when I switched, I was shocked. No longer did we pick up illnesses that other people had. I didn't get bronchitis every year anymore. And I started with a foundation with a multivitamin and the protein, and went on from there to do personalized things for my health, which is how I guide other women. I shed 25 pounds when I first came in, and I wasn't trying to lose weight. I didn't check calories, but because my body started to naturally function properly, the weight came off. And I met her at a gym, so I was doing weight-bearing exercise. The point is to be well-balanced and make really good choices. The way I saw it, if I'm going to spend the money, I want to make sure I'm using things that are really healthy. And I was thinking about this today. It's so funny, your pointer just went to prenatals with folic acid, because I've worked with so many moms and so many women that have gotten pregnant once they switch to Shaklee. I don't know why, but you balance your body and who knows what happens. But many doctors have said that our multivitamins are fabulous prenatals, and now Shaklee, through research, does label that on their bottles of the women multivitamins. So it's been a great choice for our lives and the thousands of customers that I know and through colleagues. Pam, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. So now we're moving on to the menopause years, and this can occur anytime between the age of 40 and 55. And so things change a little bit. I've found personally that the soy foods that began my whole interest in Shaklee back when I was in my 20s, looking for a way to reduce caffeine and sugar and have more energy. And Joanne introduced me to the instant protein, and I thought it was like the nectar of the gods after gagging on brewer's yeast every morning. And as I progressed through my life stage, I found that the soy shakes really helped me transition through the menopause years with hardly any hot flashes. I mean, soy is just such a wonderful supportive food, and it's so easy to get it in our shakes, and it's so whistle clean, no GMOs, nothing fishy at all in it. So this is a time for more soy protein for sure, and more calcium, more vitamin D, a time to learn how to manage stress and sleep. Sleep becomes sometimes an issue for women, especially at this time in their lives. Weight, always on every agenda for every life stage. and mammograms, and weight-bearing exercise too. I know Jennifer's going to talk a little bit about this, but this is so critically important to help to maintain the integrity of your bones. And weight-bearing doesn't mean you have to, lift dumbbells all the time. It can be, walking. Anytime that you defy gravity with whatever you're doing, that's weight-bearing exercise. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And, oh, did we skip one, Joanne? There we go. Healthy diet, 7+ servings of colorful fruits and vegetables, not juice. Now, I have not juice, but there are some good juices. And I just happened to read a little bit from Dr. William Lee's blog this morning about the benefits of pomegranate juice and how rich it is in terms of helping your body's immune system be stronger, which is something we really want to focus on right now during this age of pandemic we're in. So if you're looking for a good read, that was on the graphic. Find a good book, Eat to Beat Disease. Highly readable, fun to read, interesting book. But he talks about pomegranate juice and cranberry juice. Very important, and not just for urinary tract infections, but for your immune system in general. So those are 2 juices that are good. Whole grains, beans, lean meats, all this stuff we kind of know. Healthy fats, omega-3 fatty acids. If you don't eat a lot of blue skin fish like salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, most of us don't eat a lot of that. Having a supplement with the omega-3 fatty acids is really good. And of course, avoiding trans fat, saturated fats. Okay, I think Jennifer's up next. Oh boy,
Hi.
that looks delicious.
So now that I'm the weekly chef, I've been challenged to be, add a lot of variety to the recipes I'm providing. So I decided to make friends with pineapple. I have had frozen pineapple in my fridge for a while. And I thought I better make some friends with it. So I did, and it turned out pretty good. This is a pineapple ginger smoothie. And I put in this one a cup of nut milk. I don't drink any dairy except for some half and half in my coffee. So you can put whatever you like, or just water if you're counting calories. And half a cup of frozen pineapple and 1 apple with the skin. So ideally you want an organic apple and with the skin, because the skin has pectin, which is a very important fiber for digestion. And excuse me, a sliver of fresh ginger. And if you've never experienced ginger, I've never experimented with it, I encourage you to try it. You just take like a little thumbnail piece of it, peel it, stick it in your blender. It adds a distinct taste. Ginger is wonderful to calm your digestion, and it's a wonderful anti-inflammatory. So as you play with your smoothies and your shakes, try finding the combinations that ginger works, because there is such a wonderful benefit to ginger in your diet. So ginger pairs well with both apple, pineapples. And then you add 2 scoops of vanilla live shaker. That's what I did. And you blend it all. And so for me, it comes down to consistency. I happen to like to drink my smoothies with a spoon, so I eat them. So you can actually top on top of this some coconut flakes just to make it more fun. Sometimes I'll put my organic greens booster at the very end, so none of it gets stuck on the sides of the blender, and I'll just, put it on top and then just eat it up. But that's my recipe. I do encourage you, as you're trying smoothies, start adding some ginger because of the anti-inflammatory properties and how it calms your digestive tract. So that's it for my smoothie.
Thank you. That's always informative. How strong is the flavor in that ginger when you put it in your smoothie?
It's gingery. It's not like the ginger if you go to a Japanese restaurant with that pickled ginger. It's not that strong. So if you look at your thumbnail, maybe a piece from the bottom of your thumbnail up, and then peel off the skin and start there. It'll be gingery. You don't want to mix it with cherries. That doesn't mix well, but start with a small amount and see how much you can like. I have a client who just did the Prove It Challenge, and she started adding more and more ginger. She really loved it, and her digestion is doing really well as a result.
Yeah, some people really, I find the taste of ginger a little strong. I'll have to try it though because of what it can do for me. All right, let's hear from Sue Ann about making healthy food choices.
Okay, thanks, Joanne, and thank you, Jennifer. I'm going to try that tomorrow morning. It sounds yummy. Yes, making healthy food choices every single day can be hard. And I read this and I thought, you know, the keywords that jumped out at me were every single day. You know, every single day we have to think about eating healthy, getting enough nutrition from the food that we're eating, because we all have very busy lifestyles. Most of us are under more stress. Even if it's happy stress, it's still a stress on our body. Our routines have changed. Certain foods are harder to get. And the staying at home has probably had some of us gravitate towards some comfort foods, which may not be as healthy for us. So it's really important that we do pay attention. When I studied nutrition as part of my dental hygiene, I came into Shackley thinking that, you know, I was really good at this. And what I found out is I had symptoms that were really nutritionally linked. And so filling in the gaps with healthy food supplements that Shackley can provide are really beneficial and can make your lifestyle just so much better. So Vitalizer is I call it the smorgasbord, your daily smorgasbord of nutrients of what your body needs to maintain functioning. And it fills in the gaps. It's a simple way of just getting what we need. Susie had highlighted the women's, which we're highlighting women's nutrition, is a wonderful pre and post natal multivitamin system. And I know my daughter-in-law, who is a dentist and very methodical, researches everything, came to me and she said, I'm taking Vitalizer for women. Her doctor signed off on it because it's so complete. And she delivered a very healthy little boy who's going to be 1 year old on Sunday, which I'm happy to report. When I started, I came into Shackley in my 30s. And as I said, I thought I was doing pretty well. I was eating healthy. I was, you know, buying organic. I was cooking my own food. But I had a son that came down with asthma. I was having PMS terribly. And my wonderful late husband credits the protein and the multivitamin with saving our marriage from my PMS, because I could be moody, grouchy, irritable, short with him and the rest of the family, and I just was not a fun person to be around. But when my nutrients were better balanced, I was much happier because I felt calmer, I felt more confident, I felt stronger, I had more energy. So nutrition plays a huge part in our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. The Vitalizer also has what's called the Smart Delivery System, which every single nutrient in the packet of the Vitalizer is designed to break down where exactly it needs to be. And as a health professional, I just really, you know, applaud the science and research that goes into this, because the nutrients that you're going to take into your body are going to be utilized the way they're supposed to. The one I will highlight, which is really huge when people are trying to find a probiotic, most of them get broken down in the stomach, where your stomach acid just kills it off. And so it's not going to be releasing all the friendly bacteria that you need to really support the immune system. And we're really needing to support our immune system big time right now with the current COVID-19 virus pandemic. So we know that our probiotics will get into the gut, into the colon tract, where it's going to be the best beneficial and help release those friendly bacteria guys that are going to help the rest of our body and our immune system.
You know, and Sue Ann, what's wonderful about Vitalizer that was created for this complete package and system for the nutrients we need to be healthy is there's a men's strip, there's a over 50 strip. So they have designed it specifically for the different age groups that we go through when we're trying to stay healthy.
Right, exactly. And I've transitioned from the 30 group into the postmenopausal group. And I'll just make a statement. My transition into postmenopausal was so much easier than my PMS days. So nutrition definitely helps.
Definitely, most definitely. Okay, Jennifer, we're going to ask you to, as a health professional as well, to share some insights for everyone, all the people on the call today.
Absolutely. Well, don't skip breakfast. And let me start this by saying I don't like breakfast and I really like my coffee. However, I never skip breakfast. Eating a good breakfast will give you nutrition and energy for the day. And I know many of you have heard that over and over and over again and may still skip breakfast because whatever, you're too busy or you want to lose weight. Well, skipping breakfast really comes down to a blood sugar issue. You need protein and fiber in the morning to start your day to keep your blood sugar levels stable. If you start the day with no breakfast and just a coffee, or you start your day with a very sugar-laden breakfast like just white toast, that's also a sugar, you're setting yourself up for a spike and then a dip in your blood sugar levels, getting hangry. I don't know if you're one of those that get hangry, but I do, and it's really hard to correct without just going to sleep that night. And eating a good breakfast and having your first meal, being very conscious about what you put in is key to minimize sugar cravings later in the day and that late night snacking later in the evening. So you want to choose foods that are rich in protein and fiber, and you want to make sure that you're having your I'll be real quick about this. I know we have to keep time. I'm very passionate about breakfast, not being a breakfast person. There's a lot of studies saying that if you skip breakfast, that's going to set you up into unhealthy habits, which then lead to greater incidences of heart disease, blood pressure, elevated cholesterol. So it's because of the blood sugar issue. So I can't stress that enough. So coffee on the go really isn't enough. That's going to give you temporary energy, but it's going to set you up for a lot of dietary pitfalls later in the day. I could talk about this for hours, but those are the main nuggets about why not to skip breakfast.
Well, you can expand upon it. My finger hit the slide thing, which wasn't meant to push you along. But I notice if I just have coffee and don't get my good source of nutrients, that I get a headache.
Yeah. We get headache. We want to hydrate at breakfast also. How you start your day is going to determine your mental attitude, your productivity, and you can do a very simple exercise that I do with my health coaching clients. It's called a 7-day breakfast experiment. And write out pre-planned 7 breakfasts. I would include the Life Shake twice. I would include then egg and a toast. I would include one that's just carbohydrates or sugar, and see how you feel. See if you crave something later in the day. Be conscious, not just of the foods that you crave later in the day, but how you feel. And then figure out the right combination of protein and fiber that sets the right tone for the rest of the day. Some people do practice intermittent fasting, which means they'll eat a small window during the day. So your first meal is a breakfast, even though it might be at 11 a.m. or 12. Make sure you start it with protein and fiber, and you're conscious of foods that don't spike your blood sugar levels. So the Life Shake, as I said, I don't like breakfast and I like my coffee. I will make a coffee Life Shake. And I think I presented that recipe a few weeks ago. But Life Shake, really one shake does it all. It has 20 grams of protein right there. And I'm not a meat eater, so this is really a godsend to have a nice plant-based protein. Our Life Shake is powered by leucine, which helps you build lean muscle and burn fat and help with your metabolism. I'm a recent new inductee to the Menopause Club. And so when you're in menopause, your body has a harder time absorbing protein. Consequently, this impacts your ability to maintain muscle mass. Consequently, muscles can get striated with fat if we don't have enough protein that's absorbable. So our formula is very absorbable by the body. I don't put on muscle mass very easily, never have my entire life. And when I started using the Life Shake about, I don't know, I'd say it's about 6 years ago, I found it much easier to put on muscle mass. And I'm not, I think everyone knows if they're a muscle mass person or not. I'm not. And this has been very absorbable for me. So you are what you absorb. So it's important to be conscious about what kind of protein you do put in your body and to make sure you do absorb it.
And you're an avid tennis player as well, so I would assume that that's really important for you to improve your muscle mass.
Absolutely. It really is an essential fuel for me. I look at the Life Shake as fuel and I feel great with it. I have had very finicky digestion, and the Life Shake and blending a blended meal like this, and I put lots of stuff in it, as people know with the recipes I've been sharing, the blended meal really just goes right into my bloodstream and gets used as fuel for the tennis courts.
I understand you're going to put these recipes in a comprehensive unit. Those recipes are available, everybody, but I think that as you compile all these, Jennifer, it's a great idea to do that. And I remember as a former yoga teacher, I had a lot of vegetarians in my class, and when I had them start on the protein, they came back to me and said, "What did you give me?" Because their energy increased so dramatically. And for vegetarians, a big issue is the amount of protein they get in their diet.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Let's go on.
Okay, so exercise is important. We all know exercise is important. It reduces the risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes. It helps balance blood sugar, and some cancers. And diet helps achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Number 3 is my favorite. Exercise reduces feelings of depression and anxiety. For me, a good hard workout or a hard game on the tennis court is like Prozac and meditation all in one, because I walk out refreshed and with some of the best ideas I have about what I want to accomplish in my life after a good exercise. So I'm definitely number 3 is why I love exercise. Exercise builds healthy bones, muscles, and joints. And as I mentioned, as we get older, our bodies have a more difficult time absorbing protein. And so not only do we have to make sure we can absorb and eat good protein, we've got to move to help build that protein also. As we get older too, arthritis is a concern, wear and tear on the body. And one of the big things for people to remember, especially in the work that I do, I've saved a lot of people from surgery who have pain in their joints. What people need to realize is that movement in your joints is how you manage arthritis. If someone comes to me with a mild arthritis in their back and they're having back pain and we've ruled out other pathologies, movement and stretching and balance work minimizes that pain and gets it under control. So exercise is very important for our joint health and pain management. So your exercise doesn't have to be fancy. 30 to 45 minutes per day of activity and aerobic activity to monitor your heart rate. We've got a lot of great inexpensive devices where you can monitor your heart rate. And then 3 days a week for strength training. So what's the best exercise? The best exercise is the one that you're going to do. I love yoga. I love Pilates. I love tennis. I found a whole bunch of things that I enjoy. And people say, is Pilates the right exercise? No, the right exercise is what you're going to do. So it can be walking to your favorite music or to an audiobook, water aerobics, swimming for your cardio, walking uphill if you live in an area with hills. And then your strength training, again, doesn't have to be fancy. You can do what are called wall push-ups, because I hate push-ups, but I do, upper body strength is so important as we get older. Having good upper body strength minimizes the possibility of actually falling in falls. And I think that's at least with a lot of my older clientele, that's a big concern. Things like wall push-ups, where you can put your hands like this against the wall, your feet away from the wall further than arm's length, you're at an incline, and just do push-ups against the wall or against your kitchen counter. 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15. You can do plank, straight arm plank, forearm plank. You can Google that. Hold plank. I say for all my women, 1.5 minute plank is really a good sign of overall fitness. That also tones your abs and builds some stamina in your body. And
gardening.
Yes, thank you. I'm like a couple other women today. I can't keep things alive, so I didn't think to put gardening, but definitely gardening, weeding, any work being outside in nature. Just do something that you love, that you enjoy, and do it often so that it's fun. Do it with love. Don't do it because you
That's a great statement. It's so true. I'm a horseback rider, so getting to the barn and jumping on a horse, and it's not just riding and sitting. Believe me, moving around a 1,500-pound horse requires physical strength.
It's hard. Okay.
Well, there's the weight bearing. Go
So
for it.
weight bearing is really important. As Susie mentioned in her slide, that calcium is important for young adults, and we kind of have a bank account of the maximum amount of calcium our bones can store, and we can store up to 30, 35, age of 30, 25 to 30. I've seen as high as 35. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I'm really big on promoting the right diet so she has strong bones as she goes on in her life. So we want to be conscious of our nutrition, and we also want to exercise to promote bone density. We need some impact against gravity. So it takes a combination of nutrients to help prevent bone loss. So let's say you ate poorly. I didn't eat too well prior to the age of 30. And so my bone density scores are good because I do a lot of exercise and I do supplement properly. So my bone densities are quite excellent right now. So some of the nutrients that are specific are calcium and other minerals like magnesium and phosphorus and vitamin D. And others you can see here, A, C, E, B, and vitamin K. I want to say something though, two really important things. We need calcium, we need vitamin D. Calcium is only absorbable in quantities of 500 milligrams, and a lot of doctors say take 1,000 milligrams daily. If you take 1,000 in one shot, you're only going to absorb 500, so split it up in your day. So responsible supplementation so you get what you want to get is very important, particularly with calcium. And the same thing with vitamin D. I take 5,000 IUs a day. I live in Florida, and I think 5,000 IUs a day, 4,000 is adequate, but get your blood levels checked. Your ideal number should be between 60 and 75. I think 65 is like your ideal you want to shoot for. Find out your number. Doctors are fine with 40, but I'm not for the purposes of immune function and bone building. So 65 is the number. Get your number tested. If you're on the low side, if you're like 40 or really low, you need to over supplement for a 30-day period at 10,000 IUs, then go down to 5,000 IUs for month 2 and get rechecked. And then you'll figure out your daily dosage. But you cannot play catch up with just 1,000 or 2,000 IUs of vitamin D. You've got to over supplement for a short period and get retested. So testing is really important, and D is so integral to bone health, more than cheese, more than milk, more than dairy. D is really key. I can't say enough of that about the D. Some fun weight bearing activities that are proven to improve bone density even as we age is rebounding. I don't know if you've seen those round trampolines. Just Google it. 15 minutes a day has been shown to improve bone density, and it's kind of fun, and it's easier on your joints because I'm not a big fan of jump roping. That's too hard on my knees, but rebounding, because it absorbs some of that impact, is wonderful.
It's a good aerobic exercise too, rebounding, and it's a little mini trampoline that is very popular.
It is, and if you can fit one in your house, or it's actually kind of fun to do. So I had one for a while before I bought my current house. The other part of bone density, is just the last thing, is balancing exercises are so important. That's why yoga is very good for bone density. Just stand. After you're done here, stand on one leg and see if you can balance for a minute, and you'll notice your body is shaking and shifting left and right, forward and back. That's all these muscles in your spine and your core working to hold you upright. So any kind of balancing exercises are very important for bone density. So that's another form.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for the great information. And we're going to continue with bone density here for women, which is so critically important. Pam?
Great, thanks so much. And so we're going to talk about a product that helps to fill in the gaps here, and that is Osteomatrix. And it's specially formulated to help build bone density during that window when young women and men have that opportunity between the ages of teenage to 30 or 35 to lay down the bone mass that they will have with them for the rest of their lives. And when you're older, you want to minimize bone loss as you age. So why would you, let's go to actually the next slide, Joanne, because what I want to talk about here is the new Osteomatrix product. Can we go to the next slide? Where's Joanne? Can she hear me?
She might have stepped away. I see her, just her picture showed up for a moment.
Okay. The product you're seeing right here, and I wanted you to see the new label because as of January of this year, the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, has increased the recommendation for the daily value of calcium from 1,000 milligrams to 1,300 milligrams. So that has changed. And there was also some more vitamin D, I believe 750 IUs of vitamin D within this new formulation. It's not a new formulation, it's slightly new formulation. But how do we get it? As Jennifer said, it's really important to get it divided and to take it with food. So Joanne, if you can hear me and go to the next slide. There we go, perfect. This is the current label, and to Shackley's credit, by the way, not all companies were required to update their labels. So if you go to XYZ health food store or your CVS type of place, you'll find some calcium products on the shelf that will still say 1,000 milligrams is a recommended daily value, but that is not accurate and timely. It is now 1,300 milligrams. So what you'd like to do with this product is to take 5 caplets a day, divided preferably with food. And that will give you a nice blend of not just calcium, but with the vitamin D and the other minerals that help lay down good bone mass. And I wanted this label to go up because it's just so impressive to know about all the information that appears on our labels. If you haven't taken a look lately at our labels, it really behooves you to kind of review the labels because it's full of great information that's all capsulized in a nutshell. Clinically tested absorption. We talked about that. Sue-Ann talked about that with Vitalizer. You know, if it's not being absorbed in your bloodstream, what good is what you're taking? The other thing I thought of here too is that, and I get this question a lot, is, well, I take Vitaly or I take a multi. Don't I get enough calcium in my multi? And the answer is no, because calcium is very, very bulky to tablet. It's a bulky mineral. That's why you have to take 5 caplets now to get to the 1,300 IUs a day of recommended calcium. So it's bulky, so we have to take it. And just to go back to the menopause thing for a moment too, an interesting fact is bone mass can decrease as much as 3 to 5% annually after you're in menopause. So why does that happen? It happens because our estrogen goes down and the production of our bone, or the resorption of bone, goes up, and the calcium absorption goes down. So getting extra calcium right now is just not optional, I believe, for postmenopausal women. And also, there's a lot of research now that is highly suggestive that calcium is protective in preventing colorectal cancer. So it's not just for bones, it's for cancer prevention as well. So let's go to the next slide and talk about stress. And this is a time of stress. And I love thinking about stress in terms of our ancestors who lived in caves, and when they had to fend off wild animals, lions and tigers and bears, what would happen? The body would produce cortisol, and that cortisol would give you enough flight, you know, get away from the force that's coming after you. And after that force, and you're calmed down, the cortisol levels would drop. But the way we live now, we're under such stress practically all the time, especially right now during the COVID pandemic. And so stress becomes part of our lives, and our cortisol is just constantly produced all the time, all the time, all the time. And this can be a very, very destructive hormone in your body. So you want to be able to manage your cortisol levels and keep it low for when you just need it, and not like an ongoing fuel supply in your body that's wearing you down. Getting enough sleep, identifying what stresses you, scheduling personal relaxation time, nutrition, exercise, and trying botanicals. And we're going to talk about that on the next slide. And one way of getting your botanicals is through Stress Relief Complex. So let's take a look at that product. This is one of my most favorite products. And it has an ingredient in it, an Ayurvedic herb called ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is one of the most highly regarded and commonly used adaptogenic herbs in the Ayurvedic tradition. And what it does is it increases your energy and your vitality. It helps you to adapt to stress. It also helps calm the mind, and it promotes a restful sleep. And I learned in doing a little homework on ashwagandha that it's particularly helpful for us who are in our later years. It's a nourishing source, a nourishing natural source of energy as well. So when you have an herb that's an adaptogenic herb, as this is categorized, if you need more energy, it's going to help elevate that. And if you need to calm down, it's going to help you calm down. It adapts to what your body needs at the time. So this is a fabulous, fabulous product. And I always tell people, people always kind of kid me because I live just outside of Boston, and around this area there's a parkway is not the right word, but it's not an interstate. I guess it is. It's called 128, and it's full of traffic all the time. And the older I get, the more nervous I get about driving on 128. So before I have to get on the highway or negotiate Boston traffic, which is some of the worst in the world, I take Stress Relief Complex. It really helps me deal with that. The other thing that's in this that you might want to know about is L-theanine, which is derived from tea. And this is also a calming ingredient to this wonderful formula. So this is something that I think should be in everybody's tool chest. Okay, Joanne.
Most definitely. I'm sorry I had to step out of the room for a minute there. Somebody came to the door. Stress relief, I love. I mean, having moved this past year, it has really been a lifesaver. So it's a great product, and I love all this information from everyone. It really is helpful reminder for what we need and how we can help ourselves and also help others, because we do have solutions. As a former yoga teacher, I was a health food nut in my teens. I realized that at 18 that I needed to do something after not being prepared by my mother, and my eating pizza in the morning and having a cup of coffee, or I was smoking cigarettes and doing all this awful stuff. I noticed my hair got very limp and very split, and I just didn't have that youthful, vibrancy in my skin. And so I knew I needed to make a difference or a change. Plus I was studying special education and going into the classroom as a student teacher and realizing that I was irritable and had the energy and attitude of teachers that I didn't like in school. So I made those changes back when I was in my teens. And my mother really did help me and start me right off very well with knowing that I had to have a breakfast and I eat well and making sure that I took care of myself, so that when you're a mom, you're responsible to do that for your children, to teach them and guide them, as Susie mentioned. So we have different, and I was introduced to Shaklee nutrients from my yoga teacher, who I knew was a purist. This man could go out into the snow, 2 feet of snow in his bathing suit and stay warm by his breath. He was excellent, and that's who introduced me to the Shaklee nutrients, even though I was using all my groceries at the health food store, taking tons of for women on the go. There's some personalized, we have a health print that Shaklee provides that you can take to see which are most important for you. And by the way, they're going to be announcing a program in August or September, which is really exciting, that will be more specific than even the health print. And 40s to mid 50s and menopause, we need different things, and 55 and beyond, the healthy aging, we would introduce something else. And I know for my children, when I started them very young, I was single when I was first introduced to Shaklee, had no children. And of course, my children, like Susie's children now, are big health food, organic, eat well, use nutrients to supplement because they know their diet isn't sufficient to get the nutrients that they need. And now they're in their 30s, and one is 40, one is 40. They're realizing what they need to do. But when they were children, I used to find the supplements stuck in the couch cushions or in the plants. And my daughter, Bridget, needed the B complex. Stress relief was a big issue for her. So it's really important at all stages to eat well, but most importantly, because our food source and the way it's produced and how we get it and cook down the nutrients, we do supplement. And Pam did a great job of reading labels. Is important. Even when if you go and get your supplements elsewhere, realize that not all supplements are created equal, just as all food is not created equal. As I mentioned, you can do a personalized health assessment for yourself if you haven't done that. It's a 5-minute health print that you can answer 20 questions. You will receive a personalized health assessment for yourself to help guide you to become the healthiest woman that you could possibly be. And as Carolyn mentioned in the beginning, not only for yourself, but for your significant other, spouse, children, as well. I want to thank all the speakers on the Lunch and Learn Wellness Day today on women's health. We do host these each week. We say grab your lunch and sit down in the comfort of your home and enjoy time with us. We have to make our own informed and educated decisions. I think that that's important to know. It's not, again, we have to listen to our bodies, and I think that's a big issue that a lot of people don't. Again, you have to be well informed. And if you look at the landmark study and you go onto the site, ask your upline to share the landmark study with you, because the majority of seniors that have been utilizing Shaklee for a long time are on no medications. And if you look at, I see the news every once in a while, even though I don't like to watch it, I very seldom watch it. You'll see that a medication has incredible side effects that can be detrimental. We have side benefits in taking nutritional supplements and eating well. We get the side benefits, and usually if you haven't taken care of your body, we have to get into, the doctor has to repair some faulty situations that might have been created. Anyone else have any one question or more that we can address? But again, listen to your body, listen to health professionals that believe in nutrition, that believe in how to do wellness care versus sick care. That's what we want to talk about. Okay, 2 people have raised their hands. Who's that? Let's see. Good question. Who wants to ask a question? Unmute yourself.
Yvonne Smith and myself.
Okay, Yvonne, we'll have to wait on that just a minute. I want to see if there are others here.
The other one was me.
Okay, good.
I just want to make a comment.
We're going to end with you because it's 2 o'clock, and Yvonne, you can speak to the person who invited you, okay? And follow through on this loop. Okay, Sue.
Will do. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment regarding the, what was it, Jennifer had made regarding intermittent fasting. It doesn't mean that you have to change your whole day. I have definitely found, personally, we eat breakfast between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. And I have found that if I stop eating anything by 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening, I feel much better the whole day, which is actually, that's a full 12-hour fast. And it makes a big difference.
Excellent point. That's an excellent point, and that's a recommended suggestion. Go ahead. That really well said. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.